KGW Breaking News.
And we are bringing you breaking news from Washington County. The sheriff's office there just wrapping up a press conference over a quintuple homicide investigation. The sheriff now confirming the suspect behind the incident was found dead in his car today. Jake Holter has been following the story all day.
Well, just moments ago, the Washington County Sheriff announced that they have found a suspect in this case. Detectives tracked down 36-year-old Benjamin Parker in Enumclaw, Washington. He was found dead in his vehicle of an apparent suicide. Authorities say he is known to the victims, but police are still withholding their identities as they work to inform the families. This all stems from when first responders got a call of a vehicle fire in this area Saturday morning. This is Northwest Otis Lane, just off Northwest Hillside Road. Information on the scene is still slim, including where exactly the bodies were found, details on the fire, and things of that nature. But Sheriff Caprice Massey reassuring the public that there is no threat to their safety.
Officers with the Enumclaw Police Department found Parker's vehicle and was located deceased inside. It is believed he died by suicide. Detectives do not believe there is a danger to the public, and I want to express my sincere appreciation to the Enumclaw Police Department for their assistance in this case.
Multiple animals were also found deceased, but detectives would not say how many or what kinds of animals. We will be following this story very closely and will share with you more as we learn more information about the victims. John?
Thank you so much, Jake. This has been a rapidly evolving situation since we first reported on it yesterday. Let's run through what we know from the beginning. Now, this started just before 1 Saturday afternoon on Northwest Otis Lane off of Hillsdale Road. Firefighters were flagged to a vehicle fire and noticed suspicious circumstances. They then turned the scene over to the Washington County Sheriff's Office, which confirmed the remains of 5 people plus, quote, several domesticated animals. Today, the suspect was found dead in his car in Enumclaw, Washington. A motivation still not known. Stay with KGW News for the latest updates surrounding this homicide investigation. You can also follow our website, KGW.com, or stream us on our free KGW Plus app. In other news, a crash in Clackamas County sends 3 people to the hospital, closing a highway for hours. It happened sometime around 1:30 this afternoon on Highway 6 near the Northwest Timber Road exit. One of the people had to be flown by helicopter due to their injuries. Oregon State Police is investigating. And in Portland, a firefighter was treated for burns after a house caught fire. It happened around 7 yesterday on North Missouri Avenue. A crew was working on the fire inside the home when a window broke, causing a flashover that burned a firefighter. Fortunately, their burns were minor and there were no other reported injuries. The cause of that fire is under investigation. And Portland police arrest 3 people and recover multiple weapons after a traffic stop turned into a chase. Around 11 Friday night, officers stopped a car near Southeast 29th and Belmont and learned one of the people inside was a suspect in an armed robbery. While arresting them, officers saw multiple firearms within reach of the 3 other people that were in that car. The driver ignored instructions and left, eventually crashing near Southeast 26th and Ankeny. Over several hours, police found and arrested 2 of the 3 remaining suspects. They also recovered 5 guns the suspects threw out of that vehicle. The investigation is ongoing. All right, time to switch gears and talk about weather and take a live look outside. Today was another day with very comfortable temperatures for late August. And just like yesterday, a thick marine layer kept us cool in the morning. But by the afternoon, it was sunny and nice out there. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri joining us with a first look at our weather. And Joe, it sounds like we're going to see a return of the 90-degree weather soon.
Absolutely right. It's a 2-day event, and then we go back to some cool conditions very quickly heading into the middle part of this week. So tomorrow morning, yeah, it's going to be sunny and warm from out of the gate, basically. But we'll also be dealing with some areas of some smoke and haze. There'll be a change in the wind direction, so those clear skies that we have been seeing the last couple of days will kind of be replaced by a little bit of some hazy skies here and there. It shouldn't thicken up or get too dense over the next 48 hours or so. By late tomorrow morning, we're seeing a temperature as close to 70 degrees by the early part of the afternoon, upper 80s with a daytime high of right around the low 90s in many locations. We still have the air quality alert. That's that gray color. We also have a red flag warning in place throughout parts of southern Oregon that goes in effect tomorrow. We're also paying close attention to the Burns area in the southeast pocket of the state. Fire weather watch will be in place tomorrow as well because of the threat of more fires starting because of thunderstorms. You can kind of see on the radar right now, we're not picking up anything, which is good news, but there have been some thunderstorms hitting parts of Idaho. Now the concern is that there'll be kind of a shift in that system that could push some thunderstorms our way. Not so much in the metro area, but down the east side of the state. The smoke and haze is going to be pretty thick over Mount Jefferson tonight. That eventually will be coming our way tomorrow. I'll break it all down for you in your detailed forecast just a couple minutes from now.
All right, Joe, thanks so much. To Nevada, where the state's National Guard is now joining the fight against a fast-moving wildfire bearing down on Reno. The Hawk Fire has forced some 40,000 people to evacuate. Authorities are warning an additional 45,000 people to get ready to leave as well. Investigators say they believe the fire was intentionally set. So far, 6 people have been injured, including 3 emergency responders. Well, the memorandum of understanding between the United States and Iran collapsed 1 month ago, and tensions are on the rise as Iran's president says his country is in a full-scale war. John Lawrence reports.
This is not a stable situation.
After President Donald Trump threatened a, quote, economic D-Day against Iran, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is scheduled to announce Monday the toughest sanctions in history against Tehran. The White House is also expected to call on China to cooperate with its plan to squeeze Iran financially.
This is going to be the greatest coordinated economic isolation in the history of the world. And we are going to them and saying you are either with us or against us.
Some analysts say hitting Iran in the wallet might not work.
Trump is relying heavily on the economical pressure because he doesn't want to return back to kinetic war. But the problem is that it's not sustainable. At the end of the day, without offer to the Iranians will retaliate.
Mohsen Rasai, the head of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, told Iranian media, quote, Tehran does not seek to expand war in the region, but if countries neighboring Iran cooperate with the Americans in the economic war, we will target their interests.
The Iranians don't yet understand that they have been defeated, despite the fact that they have been. But I think it's going to be essential that we keep the pressure on, keep the military assets in the region.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Well, the head of Iran's Supreme National Security Council also told state media that if neighboring countries cooperate with the U.S. in an economic war, quote, we will not allow a single drop of oil to pass through the Persian Gulf. Well, it was a celebration of independence that means even more this year. Saturday here in Portland, local groups, including Ukrainian Foundation and Portland Lviv Sister City Association, held their annual Ukrainian Day Festival at Westmoreland Park. The free event invites the public to celebrate and learn about Ukrainian culture ahead of the 35th anniversary of the country's Independence Day, which is tomorrow. In recognition of the ongoing war with Russia, the organizers will use the profits from that event to buy medical supplies to send back to Ukraine. Well, a Washington family is searching for answers after someone broke into their home and stole a massive collection of Nintendo games valued at tens of thousands of dollars. Brady Wakayama spoke to the family about their devastating loss.
An empty feeling towards something that was once full of life.
I shake, I get headaches, I get all this stuff. It's just, I don't even want to look at them. You know, I mean, the shelf, I want to rip that shelf out and get it out of my house because I know it was there.
Roger Haller and his family were out of town last week. When they returned home Sunday evening, they discovered someone had forced their way inside. And the shelf that held hundreds of classic NES games, a collection that took nearly 4 decades to build, had been cleared out.
I'm like, why are you kidding me? Kind of thing. You know, obviously, you know, there was some other choice words I said that night that happened. I punched the wall, I kicked the wall. You know, I'm like, what the heck's going on?
For Haller, these were never just old video games. His mom gave him his first NES console when he was 11. That gift started a lifelong passion, one he later shared with his own family.
To me this week, it feels like I'm losing my mom again. but similar. I mean, it's different. You know, your parents are your loved ones, but this was my other love. This was my other child. You know, I have 3 boys, but this was my child. I mean, I started this before they were even born.
He says he had more than 860 games, spending years hunting through stores, driving across Washington, and traveling to gaming conventions. He was just 3 games away from completing the full NES library.
It was going to go to the grandkids. It was ultimately going to be for them, for their college education, whatever the case may be. That was what the end goal was going to be for. Not for my kids. They're going to be mad now that they know that, but truly that's what I wanted to do, and I wanted to put it towards them. You know, it was valued anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000.
To watch that essentially lifelong collection just ripped out is heartbreaking.
Chris Sterling grew up on the hunt with his dad, riding along as they tracked down the next game. Now they're tracking down who stole their collection.
I guarantee you if you were to show up tomorrow and say, hey, you know, here's your things, I apologize, he'd probably just hug you, cry, and say thank you, you know, because that's just who he is.
A man with a fierce passion that has now decided to call it game over.
And truly, this definitely hurts, and I don't think that I will ever collect another thing again in my life.
Well, we hope it turns back up. Happening today, a beloved yet embattled Hillsboro business is closing its doors. Jim's Ice Cream will shut down permanently after today. The business owner says the property owner declined to renew their lease. Now, this comes less than a year after the ice cream shop reopened following an extensive closure after a car crashed into the building on Thanksgiving nearly 2 years ago. In a social media post, they say they will close at 10 o'clock tonight or whenever they run out of ice cream. Portland's largest celebration of Indian culture is still happening downtown. India Festival is taking place right now in Pioneer Square. The all-day event, free and open to the public, centers on India's independence, typically celebrated during August. In addition to a full day of performances, there are hands-on demonstrations of cultural crafts. There was also a magic show and yoga, along with several vendors selling authentic Indian cuisine. Organizers say the festival is a way for Indian culture to be preserved, as well as bringing diversity here to the Rose City.
We think that there's a lot to do with educating the Oregonians about our culture and India. And it's like a lot of people don't go to India. It's like going to India without leaving Portland.
The event is hosted by the India Cultural Association of Portland. The festivities wrap up at 8 o'clock tonight. Now, how about some more neighborhood culture? Today, thousands came out to the 43rd annual Hawthorne Street Fair. Organizers say it's one of the largest street fairs in the state, celebrating the neighborhood's history, community, and the local businesses. On top of vendors, food and beverage sales, there were 2 stages for musicians to play.